Entering the adult world is not as scary as people say, it's just a little stressful. What I mean by this is when I was a kid, I always thought growing up and going into the adult world is going to be this big, dramatic, life-altering moment where suddenly I'm going to have no time to play video games anymore. Suddenly I'm going to have no time for any of my hobbies due to work. Well, actually, it's a little bit of the opposite of that. I actually have more than enough time because I'm not at college all the time doing homework for no reason, and I actually enjoy the hobbies that much more because I'm just off at that point. I made the crucial mistake of jumping straight into a job 2 weeks after graduating college. Yes, I'm grateful for the opportunity, but I kind of wish I would have taken a little bit just to relax and ease into it. See, my original thoughts coming out of college. My original thoughts coming straight out of college was the same thing I just described. I thought when I got a job, it was going to be life altering. Suddenly I'm going to have so much money. I'm going to have to pay taxes. I'm going to have to worry about every little thing under the sun just like my parents do. But nothing has changed. The same way college was every semester where I would change my classes and get into a routine is the same way I am with my job right now. As soon as I just got into the routine, it literally never felt like work. There's not a single time where it's felt any different than college for me. Everybody says you'll miss college, you'll miss school, work is so much worse. It feels the exact same to me, and that is a feeling that is indescribable. I literally cannot put the words in to describe it. I guess the best way I can say it is that in high school and college, you just go to get through because that's what you have to do. For a job though, that's all optional. You don't have to do that. You just do it for money. But for me, it's the same way as college. I just go to it to do it because I have to do it for the money. But think of it this way. Yes, you should still probably go to your job, but if you don't, it's not like your entire future is going to be determined off of if you went to that job or not. But if you look at something like school, if you fail one class, your entire future can be dismantled in seconds. Another thing I meant by what I said earlier is that I thought I would mature like exponentially as soon as I got a real world job. The person who got me into this job is my brother's friend, and I grew up with him, so he's basically like my second older brother. He kept saying to me when I was getting into it and when I was getting onboarded, he kept telling me this is a big boy job, so I have big boy responsibilities now. The complete honest truth of it is I feel no different than the responsibilities I had of completing an assignment in college. Yeah, sure, there's money riding on it, but at the end of the day, if this company suddenly collapses and I get unemployed, you can always find another job somewhere, even if it be at McDonald's. Obviously, that's a little bit extreme of a case, but that's just an example. So when he was saying all that, I thought I was going to reach a new level of maturity. Suddenly my emotions, suddenly my mood, suddenly the way I am is going to be more professional, and I'm going to be a lot more serious in my demeanor. And I'm not going to say it was the opposite, just nothing really changed at all. I still talk to people the same way I would in college. I thought when I got a job, all the people I'd work with, I have to be like, yes sir, no sir, I will get right on that sir. Instead, it's literally just like you're talking to a person you met at college. And yes, I'm including my managers, leads, and bosses in this as well. I don't talk to them saying yes sir or no sir. I literally just talk to them like they're another person at college with me. I don't know if that's bad, but that's what they told me to do, and it kind of feels not as awkward, so I'm gonna keep doing it. And before you guys ask, yes, this is my first real world job. The only jobs I've worked before this is a little bit at my dad's company and then also being a YouTuber. Yeah, I still miss those days a lot, and hence why I'm making this channel. To the main point of this video though, I thought stepping into the real world was going to be scary. I thought it was going to be different. I thought it was going to be something that I couldn't handle. Actually, it's more like I'm just trying to handle it all. Suddenly, I want to buy a Tesla, and I want to buy a Tesla very badly. At the time of recording this, it is midnight on the 15th of June. I have no idea when this video will go up, but my current plan is to get a Tesla in the beginning of August or late of July. This is going to give me a few months, but I ran the calculations with my good buddy ChatGPT, and I realized something. The money I make from my paychecks just gets disintegrated, which made me realize another thing. I'm not doing anything differently than what I was doing in college. What I was doing in college, it was just for a different reason. I was in college going to classes, doing work so that I could get my degree. But while I'm working, I'm going to the job and doing what I need to do so I can get money. That's it. It's the same concept. It's just a little bit different. People always work it up that going into the real world, getting a job is going to be a scary thing that not everyone is ready to handle. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you can handle a high school class, you can handle a job. All this to say that my worries suddenly shifted from what am I going to do after college into something else. And that made me realize that nothing is ever permanent. There's this thing in Buddhism that's called the Eightfold Path, and it solely tells you that the cause of suffering is desire. To end suffering, you must cut off desire, because in Buddhism, they believe in impermanence, which means everything is subject to change and nothing will ever stay the same. For that reason, they try to not hold on to anything and not have emotions towards things. Now, I'm not a Buddhist, but all I'm saying, they have a pretty good point there. Everything is subject to change, and with that, yes, it causes desire, but at the same time, your whole perspective of life and what you currently want is going to shift. Think about when you went from middle school to high school. When you went from middle school to high school, you were probably just thinking about, oh, look at these cool socks, cool shoes. And then you get to high school and you're probably thinking about, wow, how do I look today? How is my basketball team doing? How are my friends doing? Your perspective shifts as you mature. And it's the same way with stepping into the real world and getting a real man's job. I'm going to be so honest with you, I have no clue where I was even going with this video. I am so off topic at this point, but I'm just gonna keep going. It's so different for me having to worry about spending so much on a car payment and the insurance of it versus back whenever I got my Focus Now, which was like, what, 2019, I think. The car was like I think it was $5,000 actually. Now I'm buying a Tesla for like $30,000. What is wrong? What is happening, bro? But that means, yes, I'm growing up, of course. And yes, I'm blessed to be in the financial position I am to even be able to afford this car in the first place. But all that comes with a lot of stress and a lot of change. If you guys go look at my little Midworth channel, you're gonna see this little 20-year-old who's just playing Destiny, having a great time, being so happy if he saw even $500 a month from content creation. And let me tell you right now, I poured at least 20 hours of work into content creation. And let me do some math real quick. 725 times 20 times 4. If you worked minimum wage 20 hours a week, you would still make more in a month than I did working that amount off YouTube. I would get about $500 off YouTube. If you did minimum wage for a whole month, you would get $580 for 20 hours of work a week at minimum wage. That just tells you how false my perception of money was. I thought I was getting a bag. I thought when a sponsor paid me $100 a video, I thought that crap was a bag, which honestly for my channel size was actually pretty good, and I'm glad I did it. I would never take it back. But still, it's a little bit ridiculous that now I'm paying that same amount in a car payment. Growing up is just something that's so weird, and most people think it's scary. Most people think you're going to change your whole personality, that you're going to be a completely different person. But in all honesty, you never change. I think a lot of this comes from your parents. Most of the time when you see your parents, they seem very calm and collected and seem like they have everything held on together. But on the inside, they're still that little kid that they once were. I don't think that part ever truly leaves you. My dad goes crazy on the guitar every time he sees one. So I guess my point in really making this video is to say growing up is not that scary. Everyone imagines it as this big altering life change. It's not. It's not like one day you just wake up and you're a completely new person with completely different responsibilities. Sure, that may be how it is if you get a singular job, but at the end of the day, your whole life is not going to shift. The only thing that will shift is your routine. And I know I sound like a red pill minimalist influencer who's going to tell you, go get a system and that'll work. But no, the honest truth of it is that you just adapt. Everything is subject to change. But that doesn't mean you have to change your ways and your creativity and your hobbies and your passions. If I could have a main message for this video, it would just to be don't be scared. I think one of the coolest things I did was get a job straight out of college. Because yeah, I'm making money obviously, but also with that, it proves that I'm ready for more. I always thought when I got a job, everything would change. But in all honesty, not a lot did. The only thing that changed is what I do with my time. This was kind of just a random yap sesh video, but I guess it did have a central point at the end of it. So again, thank you guys for watching. I hope some of you guys can find this relatable, and comment down below anything you found interesting or just want to share in general. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one.